they get the things off that they need to get off.
Awesome. Well, we'll get ready for game number 4. Team Expert is 1 win away from going to the HGC Finals, whereas on the other side, Team Wish is looking just to tie up the series and go to a Game 5. The battleground that we will be going to for game number 4 is Tomb of Spider Queen.
I'm really hyped for this one. This is also a lot about quick rotations and about control again. Medivh has shown here in the past.
Kel'Thuzad too from Puck
Yeah.
show up here,
And
as well as like we've seen his Chromie throughout the set and stuff like that. I just love watching his mage play.
Again, right now we're talking for Puck the heroes that he could pick here easily, which really extend them up as well. Kel'Thuzad, Chromie,
Tracer.
Gul'dan as well.
Gul'dan as well.
It's just
So
like
all of a
so
sudden,
many picks.
do you ban Tracer again if you're a Team Expert? Are we going to see Tracer and Medivh banned out again?
I think
Both of them.
Tassadar is what Expert will address more so than the Tracer in this game, just because Tracer without a Tassadar in this map, I think struggle is a lot more.
Abathur just doesn't give the same value here that he does on other
Abathur on
maps.
Tomb,
Yeah.
overall, you lose a lot of value just because Abathur, if he's playing against Web Weavers, it's really easy to siege into him and get a lot of value, whereas if you have that 5th body with consistent wave clear, then suddenly the Web Weavers won't do as much.
Then again, there's nothing more fulfilling than seeing an Abathur die to a Web Weaver wave.
That's what Caldor wants to see.
Distracting him long enough until like... No, I love playing Abathur.
Yeah, Abathur's one of the greatest, man. So expecting a mage here from Puig, unless for somehow the Tracer and Tassadar are able to go through on the ban phase, which we're expecting not to happen here for Team Expert. At the same time, do you think we'll get another Medivh from him?
I would not put it past them. I actually think we're probably going to see Medivh addressed during the bans again.
Yeah.
He has some. We have seen Medivh not banned out against ADRD where he didn't even pick him on the map, but I personally would be uncomfortable giving them the option.
Yeah, from my perspective as a Medivh player myself, I love Medivh on Tomb of the Spider Queen. He's got like incredible rotation speed due to portal, vision control for the turn-ins, as well as just delaying in general. The one weakness he has is or I guess 2 weaknesses, lack of sustain and lack of wave clear. But Medivh compensates in other areas to the point where he's still super valuable on this map. I'm curious to see if he goes unbanned though, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, let's find out here.
Yeah, I don't know. I would expect him to be banned again. I think against Team Expert, usually try one game where you don't ban Medivh and then you learn your lesson.
Yeah, Medivh.
So yeah,
he's already out of the game.
Medivh gets banned immediately.
It makes a lot of sense. Incredible on the map. Incredible. Team Expert plays him incredibly well.
All right, there's the Tassadar ban now. So a soft ban against Tracer, so to say, and of course also against the general double support style.
Yeah, the Tassadar ban in general, you see it a lot because Tass is a very strong hero, but in this particular case, I agree with you. I feel like it's more so them saying, hey, look, we don't want to give you an option to enable Puig's Tracer.
I mean, vision alone on him is already great. We
we
always come back to the double support, we come back to Tracer and Vala, but at the same time, the vision aspect through the mid lane over both turn-in points and the wave clear, as you said, everything is amazing about him on this map.
Yeah, I agree. He's also a very safe laner too. He has his E, he can get away from pretty much any gank scenario. But Team Wish, they have a few options here. I'm curious to see if they continue to prioritize things like the ETC. And now I wonder where the Genji Uther lies on their realm of priority lists in relative to like the Vala. There's so many different play styles that I think your first couple of picks can indicate, which would allow Expert to formulate a counter. So I think that's why Wish is taking so much time in determining. Okay, they end up going Greymane. That leaves a lot of power picks open, but like I mentioned with Greymane, it leaves your draft so open-ended.
It's also, I mean, it's not really a deny pick, but it picks Greymane away from Expert, and Expert has now running Nick on Greymane 3 games in a row.
That's
so
true,
it has to figure in to an extent. What I want to know is, would you in any scenario, we've seen now Malthael banned out, right? And Malthael has been a huge staple for Wish in general. It's also the hero that allowed them to come back on Braxis. Would you ever put yourself into a scenario as Team Wish where you say on your next double pick, you actually pick Malthael up because you expect a ban against him if you don't? Would that be too high of a priority for a hero, or do you something that that would be justified even? On
a map like Tomb, I'd say an early prioritization of Malthael is justifiable, especially when you already have your hyper carry with good wave clear locked in. We'll see if they make that same assessment. I think that Malthael for Zarmany is really, really good. He's shown extreme prowess on that hero. And on Tomb, he's really hard to gank and kill. And in Tomb, you can play it a few different ways. You can either split up your resources around the map, develop pressure that way, or do like a 4-1 split where you just kind of leave your offlaner to do his own thing. And Malthael is one of the best offlaners to do his own thing.
Yeah.
I mean, other heroes to talk about against supports, so we're coming back to maybe
Uther Stitches.
Yeah? You could also, of course, think about Rhaegar, ban out Uther if you
True.
don't want to run into the Divine Shield with Mosh Pit. I mean, they have definitely a lot more traditional choices on their second rotation.
Yeah, the Sigis stems from Team Wish running Sigis 3 times the last three
Yeah.
times that we've watched.
Yeah,
Sigis
Bob
with
said on
Spider-Queen.
this map they've played it.
Yeah, it's been a lot of Johanna in the past, but they've been favoring that Sigis a lot, and it's been working out for them as a team, so I was expecting maybe to see that here. But we had the Lucio and the
wow.
Johanna coming back.
You know, I like the deny on the Lucio, simply because Vala double support with Lucio is very, very hard to beat, because suddenly with Lucio's breakdown, Vala is able to play so aggressive. Now, conversely, they're able to play super aggressive into the Vala because of the break it down, and it's kind of like that reverse matchup.
And now we have what we just mentioned. Malthael has been such a staple that Team Expert, now that Malthael hasn't been picked before the second ban, have the option to say, okay, just get him out of the way, and that's exactly what they do. So hence also the idea beforehand, do you actually prioritize him even higher? They decided not to, and now they have to put Zarmony on something else. I mean, he still has options there, of course.
Yeah.
But his Malthael was definitely something throughout the playoffs that helped them.
There's like some mind games going on in this draft, I think. I might be over-analyzing, but the fact that Expert banned Malthael made me think about it for a little bit. The Lucio-Johanna rotation. Johanna, you generally would want a Malthael into it. Very good matchup into Johanna double tank. However, Break It Down has a good matchup into Tormented Souls as well. So it's kind of like the Johanna Lucio almost could bait Team Expert on their next round of picks to have picked the Malthael, thinking that they could counter it. But Expert had the foresight to see that mental game and ban the Malthael. I don't know if I'm reaching out on a limb here, but it seems pretty interesting that Team Expert banned the Malthael away from this position.
So
it's
where
smart
does that
'cause
rabbit
it's
hole
good
go?
Yeah. I'm watching Athero really closely here
Yeah.
because he's got a plan for the offlane.
Well, we'll see what's going to happen here. Last time we had Sonya banned, it's going to be a Chromie coming in
Okay.
for Team Wish, so Chromie will not be allowed in the mix-up.
AD already hasn't chosen a hero yet, so banning out Chromie is also good, since we have seen... This is one of the overlap heroes that they have, where you have seen AD already and Nick on the hero, depending. Some of them are playing that hero a while back, but still, it's always a possibility to bring that back in.
Yeah. I think Leoric could have a place too for
Yeah.
Team Expert's draft.
For
It's-
both, actually. We've seen
Yeah.
Zarmony on it. We could see it on the side of Team Expert as well. When we're talking about Athero, they have shown sometimes even... I mean, we're reaching here now, but even Alarak has sometimes made
Yeah.
a comeback for them. Wouldn't necessarily see him here, but it's an option, and Athero actually likes playing the hero. So if he sees a chance for him to really shine, he would opt for him. But we still have Arthas around, we have
Genji and
Sonya
Uther still?
around. Yeah,
They're
also.
still floating around, and we've seen a lot of
But
Genji from ADRD.
Here's also the thing with Lucio now, we come back to the same argument with Break It Down
Yeah.
when the Dragon Blade is being popped. So is that taking away a bit from the pressure that you can execute with Genji?
Yeah, I definitely think it does take away a little bit. Breakdown's just such a good response overall. They end up going Sonya again
Yeah.
in the offlane, and Sonya, we saw the Brightwing and Abathur hat sort of compensate for that Malthael lane, the fact that it's a bad matchup. So it does make sense now that they ban away the Malthael, because they don't want that bad matchup into Sonya that otherwise would have existed. So picking away the Sonya here, Athero, one of his most comfortable heroes, heavy preference towards the Sonya. It makes a lot of sense they pick it up here.
We would still expect a second support for Team Expert, right? With the setup that they're running.
Yeah, however-
because Wish could even react now. I mean, in theory, second damage dealer,
Yeah.
you pick Lunara, for example. You add even more, add another healer, play Johanna solo at the front. She has sustain, double support behind her. So Expert is probably going to opt into a second support.
Yeah.
This might be a little bit of an odd opinion, but I actually love watching ADRD play Oriel. So if we can...
Yeah.
He actually
His
like
Oriel
has
is great.
stand-out performances on the Oriel. And if Expert can lock that in from last pick, I'd love to watch ADRD play Oriel on this game.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. Like his Oriel, the Tamen Strike positioning in
Yeah, he just
particular
gets really
is
good punish.
insanely good.
Well, we're going to need our offlane here from Team Wish. What will Zarmony move into? We haven't seen Dahaka for the entire match yet so far.
Lunara,
It's gonna be
Dahaka.
Lunara
There
and
we go.
Dahaka.
Yeah.
There we go.
So they go into the Lunara, but they don't play a second support. I mean, with Zarmony, you want to have the offlaner, but we've seen a lot of the offlane players go into a second support role if needed. But now you have to have a support,
Yeah,
right?
you need a secondary support from this position. And honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of Oriel here. I almost would rather see a support that doesn't rely on the damage dealer to generate hope.
What do
and
you think about
create the
Brightwing?
sustain. I think Brightwing's overall good because of the fact that you can have Sonya in the offlane play very aggressively, but still not sacrifice
It
the
would help you
1v1
against
pressure.
Greymane as well, and also if there's a really good flank coming from the Haka for a Tong, you could also shut that down before he hits the target.
Emerald Wind you could consider to be
Yeah.
a pretty hard counter to break it down as well, in the sense that when the team clumps up and all-ins, as long as Brightwing isn't compromised, she's able to just disrupt and get away.
I was also told earlier that Brightwing technically is a fairy dragon, so that would be our 5th dragon.
Oh, there
Which-
you
There you
go.
go.
Which both of you didn't point out to make me look like I hate Brightwing even more than I actually do, so...
That's
job,
our fault.
Tim.
Our
Good
bad,
job,
man.
Tim.
There you
Yeah,
go.
it's like, took
Okay,
one look at each other.
Stukov. You know, I was low-key...
That is
I
actually
was
not too
wondering
bad.
if they were going to pick the Stukov, because they need a high sustained support against the Lunara
also-
Greymane, and they already have Uther to prevent the one-shot. So Flailing Swipe is good against... Same argument as Emerald Wind, right? Flailing Swipe can disengage
There's
the...
one more.
Break it down.
Interrupt, again, channel. They don't have a whole lot. They have
Oh, for the
Uther that they
silence.
can use as well, but the interrupt
true.
potential of Stukov on the actual turn-in
that's good
point
too.
is pretty fantastic, because outside of that, Sonya can't interrupt without committing, neither can ETC, so both of them can be punished if they go into deep. With Vala, you usually don't want to necessarily be that far out either, especially if you go up against the Haka, against Mopsion, Johanna. So Stukov can safely sit in the back and
I
just
really
say,
like the Stukov.
Yeah.
turn in, forget it.
Personally, I want you to talk more about Flailing Slight because you do this action every single time that you do it. you just drop it. I don't know if you noticed you do that.
Yeah, Flailing Swipe's awesome, dude. It's the perfect disengage tool.
Yeah. All
He
right.
looks a
well,
little bit like a T-Rex.
yeah, I just a one-armed T-Rex, man.
But I think Stukov adds exactly what Team Expert needed to the composition. They already have 2 hyper carries being in the Vala and the Sonya.
Yeah.
They just needed a hyper sustained support because Uther's already there for the one-shot potential. I really like the position that Expert put themselves in.
All right, well, draft. Who walks away with the win here in the draft?
I think Experts won. The Stukov was really, really smart. I feel like double support with Vala and Sonya is horrifying, so I think they win.
I would say they have the edge here, especially with the Sonya play that we've seen so far from Athero.
Sure.
Didn't really come through completely on Braxis, but on this map she scares me even more than on others, so I like that draft a lot.
Well, moving into game number 4, Team of the Spider Queen. Will the Flailing Swipe beat the Boop? Let's find out here as we move into the battleground.
Game number 4, we have Team Expert going up against Team Wish on Tomb of the Spider Queen with Kirsten on Uther, Bad Benny on ETC, Athero Angel on Sonya, ADRD on Stukov, and Nick on Vala.
On the right side, in the red, Team Wish. They need a win here to tie up the series. Mopsio will be playing Johanna, Poik playing the Greymane, Zarmany playing Dahaka. Gonna have Shad follow up right into the Lenara, and playing Lucio will be Grandpa.
This could be our last game for the European playoffs here at HGC. If Team Expert takes the victory on Tomb of the Spider Queen, they would be the 3rd team to qualify for BlizzCon after Fnatic and Team Dignitas. Team Wish has taken a map win in this series, their first map win against Team Expert in HGC Europe. But let's find out if they can tie the series once again and force the 5th map.
Team Wish opening up the map here, trying to block their minions, getting the fight a little bit more on their side here from Team Expert. ADRD comes in with the silence and will allow for the fight to open up with some damage. Bad Benny does get locked down here with the drag, but healing is just going to be enough for him to escape.
Yeah, the double support here, keeping him alive for now, and he can slide out once again. Also, Nick riding into battle in style. Pink Cowboy Vala on the money pick. You can't have more style than that, so definitely a plus here as they are starting to take now the top lane with Curson.
Nick being quite fierce today with
Yeah.
that combination. Going to go ahead and clear out the top and middle side.
Can't go wrong riding bacon.
Or eating bacon.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with either of those.
And I mean, you know, the money pick, it farts money. It's like, you can't beat that.
I wouldn't say farts, I would say plops, but there
Okay.
you go.
Then plops. I'm okay with both. It's money.
Look at this matchup already as we have Sonya on the bottom side. Stukov continues to come over and help Zarmany here, but ADRD also goes up and scouts out the gank coming down there from Team Wish. Heads up play from him.
Can I just say quickly that I absolutely love that Lucio is making appearances in the meta again and that he just empowers these super fast and aggressive plays. I love that so much. It's so cool to see that. and Grandpa Keta is definitely trying to shine with him now. We've seen great Lucio play already, and the aggression that he brings to a team composition is just outstanding from an observer's point of view, so I really like that.
He's definitely switched from what people used to look at him as a late-game heal bot because of his 16 talent spike to now, okay, in the early game, we have aggressive tendencies that we can pull off, and it's cool to watch teams adapt and evolve from that.
And one of the highlights that we always talk about when it's on Tomb of the Spider Queen is the short distance between lanes where you can make aggressive rotations happen. And that just gets so much stronger if you have Lucio in your setup, so you can make those rotations faster and really apply pressure. And both of the teams in the early game are rotating heavily between the lanes right now, trying to get the pressure on, and you can already tell how Team Wish is putting Kirsten and Nick quite low in HP.
Yep, constantly rotating with Lunara. Shad able to continue to work in those auto attacks. Bad Benny comes around from the side looking for a power slide, looking for possibly Grandpa, but he's in a great position to where he couldn't get caught out. And Shad breaks his ankles with the juke.
Jukes out Bad Benny with slides into the wrong direction. But a lot of pressure from Team Wish. They actually made it work at the top lane where they nearly destroyed one of the towers. But of course, this is one of the best tools that Team Expert has overall. Those constant silences that we are seeing with the lurking arm. That's definitely going to be something to watch out for later on.
Helping it wave clear, but also preventing their opponents from charging in. If you hit on a Johanna before she goes for the condemn, makes it harder for her to get the engage that she wants. She's already a hero that has a hard time with those engages. Luckily, with Lucio being on the field, Mopsio should have an easier time pulling that off. In terms of turn-ins, we have yet to have a single gem dropped off yet. 41 to 41 in gem collection between our two teams, but nothing going in yet.
Have you already talked about the level 1 on ADRD?
No, I haven't. What
we have Spine Launcher taken by him, so the basic attacks, instead of being melee attacks, they actually become ranged now and slow. But they deal a bit of less damage. And of course, for that, you have to know that Stukov, as a melee attacker, deals the most damage of any hero with a single attack in the game. He has a low attack rate, but still, he hits like a truck. And now we're already having this Spine Launcher. It's super interesting. I haven't seen this in HGC Europe yet in a professional setup. But ADRD, the mad scientist, he's of course known to have sometimes his very own approach to a certain hero or even the draft. So right now it's an interesting talent to have, especially with that slow.
Yeah, it makes it quite handy. Think of a Dahaka gank coming in there. If you see the Dahaka come in, you get the auto attack in, slow him down. That might make enough difference pop in there to prevent a drag from connecting on a teammate. So interesting pick there from Team Expert. As we continue to watch as Team Wish is starting to open up the bottom side of the map. They grabbed the Giants, they got 17 gems dropped off. At the same time, they can start to turn it on the top.
It's definitely changing the entire playstyle of Stukov. I actually really enjoy this. ADRD is always good for a nice adjustment there. And he barely got out of the gank that we saw against him. So level 7 hits a bit faster for Team Wish, as they are now with a Splintered Spear in a great position with Lunara. Ethereal holding a lot of gems, but so far, the entire turn-in has really been dominated by Team Wish, who have turned in 38. They hold 29, so they should be able to make a turn-in happen around the top side, to be honest. And that's why we're seeing Lunara and also Johanna starting to deliver.
Yeah, part of that was them grabbing those Giants on the bottom side, which brought more members in from Team Expert than they would have liked to defend it. Bat Benny taking some damage in the middle. He turns around for a power slide as Nick goes forward with the Hungering Arrow, delivers the final blow, and Lunara is gone.
Yeah, that was a bit too aggressive. The positioning that we just saw there from Shad was definitely too far out. And that is now allowing a Thero to turn in. They could even get the first Web Weaver if they play this right, especially if they get a second kill, and they're looking for one now. But with Lunara coming back in a second, maybe the interrupts are there. 23 against 48 turned in, 2 missing on the side of the team in red, but already Bad Benny again on the turn-in. Nice zoning, but they interrupt thanks to Greymane. Problem is though that Bad Benny this time will not be interrupted. Lucio is a bit too slow, and thanks to the kill against Lunara and Shed being a bit out of position in that mid lane fight, we have Team Expert surpassing Team Wish with the turned-in gems, and they get the first wave.
But look topside there. Vola and ETC are setting up a fight for Greymane, and Bad Benny will take a little bit more damage than he was expecting to. Should be able to get healed on up, but Team Wish still answering back despite the turn-in happening here for Team Expert. And they also push out a majority of the lanes, which makes it much easier for them to defend this push coming their way.
Yeah, so at this point they are already trying, as you said, to defend, and of course lane control helps with that. If you push the lanes out quite far, then it means the Web Weavers are going to join a bit later.
Oh, the silence! That
Good kill against Johanna. No Iron Skin here.
She couldn't pop her Iron Skin. She turned around, did a little bit of harassment, but the silence coming out from ADRD and the slow beforehand made it harder for her to walk away.
Oh boy, I saw him die there. He barely moves out. It was the same concept again. You get the slows in, you have a quick silence, and then he just can't use any of his escape spells. So right now, we're seeing level 10 about to hit, and a massive push at that top lane now. With the heroic abilities just now coming online, they don't only go through the wall, but they have the opportunity to go for the fort itself, and that's of course exactly what they're doing here. So that is an entire level lead for Team Wish. And sorry, for Team Expert. And Team Wish has now to somehow try and get their turn in completed when they hit their own heroic abilities.
Yep, losing that Johanna definitely hurt Team Expert Team Wish pretty handily. Team Expert in a spot where they can get ready for the next turn in. They just need 3 more. But Team Wish only needs to drop off 2 to get themselves their own turn in. They will hit level 10, and with Thornwood Vines, they'll be able to poke.
Yeah, and right now, that's of course... Okay, for a second I thought Johanna might actually go into Falling Sword here. I'm like, this is not the new Johanna patch just yet, where you have more utility out of it. So we are seeing Blessed Shield coming out, especially against INTEC. You want to have that interrupt. So right now, Bad Benny already a bit on the chase here, going for Mopsio. He need their turn in though, and Dehaka seems like he's splitting. Here comes the silence once again. And now all... Wow, even committing to... That was unexpected, that Lucio would in this case actually going to go and drop the beat, and that was... I'm not quite like that was a pretty big cooldown that they just
in the moment it makes sense. Like if you lose Johanna there at the turn in, so they think, all right, maybe we have to force this fight.
But she was out of the silence and popped her Iron Skin, so it felt like there was miscommunication between Mosio and between Grand Paquette, and Grand Paquette popping the sound barrier. Johanna, by the way, also used Iron Skins. They used both at the same time.
Well, that is going to hurt them here, as Team Wish will have to deal with a second turn-in coming in from Team Expert. Remember, the fort was lost on the top side, and now other forts will be the target for Team Expert. Middle and bottom continue to stand. The middle one should be able to be defended with the Merc Camp being grabbed by Team Wish, but at the same time, Team Expert grabs their own Mercenary Camp. They're hoping to push back.
Yeah, Blue Web Beavers once again, so it's 2 in a row now, and that could definitely be bad news, because level 13 is what you would like to achieve with this now. If Team Expert gets a level 13 talent and increases the difference between experience between the two teams a bit more, then it would just simply mean that Wish is on the back foot for a long, long time here. So let's see how Wish is able to deal with it. They have the wave play. You pointed out Lunara earlier a bit. With the Thornwood Vines, you can really put on a clinic against these waves, but it's rough with now not only Web Weavers, but also the camp moving through the bot lane, and that fort has absolutely no chance.
I really underestimated that Merc Camp being grabbed also from Team Expert. They are able to easily push through this fort. The Web Weaver already at half health, the bottom one pushing by itself. Team Expert is looking to open up this map and grab all 3 forts already.
Yeah, and the bot lane fort is also about to fall, and Poik, completely in a bad spot. Mosh pit as well, but the flail works out in favor of them. Greymane still dies, and the Divine Shield keeps Svala alive. That was actually great play here. Great power slide against Dehaka now as he dies too. And Team Expert is running that momentum. Oh my god, the 13 talent in their hands, and they move through the wall at the keep.
A little anti-synergy there from Team Expert, but they make it work with the Divine Shield. They get the keep wall. They head to the top side. The fort on the bottom is living with a sliver of health, but the minions are getting closer and closer to finishing it. Oh no, the aggro is grabbed. Regardless, that fort is pretty much dead already. We can have Team Expert pick that off later on and get that experience, but they make an aggressive call. For the boss on the top side, they move straight on in, and they have it burned down before Team Wish even scouts.
Yeah, and Stukov by now goes into even more talents that are all about control here. On level 13, the Virulent Reaction. So every single time that you have a target that is inside the lurking arm, you can root them for 2 seconds if you can detonate a pustule on them. So after we've seen already slow on level 1 prioritized, it's even more about CC and control from him. And if you think about how often we've seen Johanna now in trouble in these situations where she had to move out of the lurking arm range just to make sure that she wouldn't die and could pop her Iron Skin, this is going to make it even harder.
Very difficult there for the Johanna to get away. Team Wish did get the turn in while the boss was being grabbed. So they are aiming to do some damage in the middle and the bottom side, but Team Expert with the boss being grabbed has Dehaka on the top, and they easily defend.
I love how ADRD has these approaches where he, like the way he thinks about the game. His ideas don't always work out. Sometimes they really backfire and it just doesn't give you anything. But the way that he really thinks about his builds and the way that he thinks about trying to complement the strengths that his team is running is absolutely fantastic. I love these adjustments, and he is just one of the players in the game that is always coming up with new ideas and new approaches to team fights, to compositions, and it really works out quite a lot for them and can oftentimes make the difference. Sometimes it backfires, but it's just awesome to see that he just doesn't always go with the status quo.
Finding those niche cases and making it work. Team Expert has a crew continue to do that. Team Expert, speaking about defending, they're in the top side working on Team Wish as they move in for the fight. Poik gets caught out and gets CC'd to death there as he falls instantly. Greymane
is down, and at this point they are once more on the run. And thanks to Grand Paquetto, they run pretty fast. So Lucio helps them to run out of the fight and not lose more than that. But if you look at the experience and talents, then of course you can already tell that this is bad news. We have Team Expert about to hit level 16, and that is nearly a 3-level lead. Make it 2.5. Where they grab the extra talent, and they also have enough gems to turn in for the 3rd time now. Team Wish has only gotten a 1 single turn in, and they didn't really get a whole lot of value out of it. They haven't dropped a single fort yet. So now all of a sudden, with even a camp taken here at the bot lane, Expert can go for the turn in, they can time it with both camps taken even, and put heavy pressure on every single lane and attempt to maybe even get the keep.
Hoping Team Wish here has not ran out of steam, as they really need to defend this push coming their way. Full talent behind. Webweaver's moving in with the Giants on the bottom side. Team Expert in a full healthy state as well. They have Mosh Pit up, they have Strafe up, Divine Shield available too. They are looking for a fight and want to gain another advantage over Team Wish as they move in and look for keeps after grabbing the fort.
Yeah, right now this is of course the dream for them. They can really push with all the advantages in the book. They have camps pushing in the lanes, they have the objective on their side, and they have a talent and level advantage. The level advantage itself, it's something that actually a lot of people neglect. It doesn't give you an advantage in talents, of course, or in this case it does because you have 16 versus 14, but it also gives you a stats advantage, and that can sometimes make a huge difference, especially if you're 2 full levels ahead. So that's another thing to definitely pay attention to. The Fountain already gone as they are pushing through the mid lane. Sonya is making her way down as well, was preparing the top lane for a bit longer. Every single keep is going to be under attack here in a few seconds.
They are. The keep in the middle takes the damage already. Johanna hoping to stop it as Mopsio charges forward with a Blessed Shield and Condemn. The heals come out from Nick. He's able to turn around and attack. Isolation will hit Sonya, but Darmany standing in the middle of 3 members looking for another drag, but Sonya just does not care. Turns around for a whirlwind.
Divine Shield is also still ready. Every single ult except for Strafe is still available. Sonya, of course, still with the active Wrath is moving in again, but they're buying so much time, and the keep at the top lane is about to fall. It's definitely going to. Yeah, there is still a Webweaver, so it is going to fall for sure. Has been destroyed, and they can pressure even more here. They have their heroic still, and with Divine Shield and Mosh Pit still available, there's so much pressure against Team Wish where they have to be careful, especially since they already used Blessed Shield on Johanna.
Team Wish will be able to hold on to 2 keeps for now. Team Expert hoping to delete a little bit more on this keep on the bottom side. Bad Benny moving in, and as you mentioned, Heroics being up will make it a little difficult for Team Wish to engage this fight, but not going to grab a little bit too much. 15.5 here for Team Wish. They are half a level away from 16, which will be the chance for them to start fighting back against their opponent.
Yeah, right now with 16, 16 of course also amazing for Lucio alone. There's so many cool talents that they get on 16 that really help them, and they need to get them pretty fast if they want to have a chance here. So for now, we're having them just a little bit away from their next talent, and then they have 2 levels in which they can force fight on even talents before Team Expert hits their Storm talents on level 20. Only 1 keep down. It's the top keep, so that is at least a bit of a saving grace, because whenever there's a fight over the boss and a bit of posturing around the boss area, you can defend the catapults that are coming in against your top lane. It would be much more annoying if it was the bottom keep that was missing, because then Team Expert could set up a very strong position around the boss, wait until they see a hero back at the bot lane, and then start to poke in. Even with the Haka and the Global that Team Wish holds, it would be an annoying situation. There's the root, by the way, thanks to level 13 talent from AD Ardian Stukov.
Mopsio taking some damage here from a Thorough. Tahaka possibly wanting to come in. Yes, he does. We'll use a Brush Dog. Team Wish is taking this chance. This is the fight that they want. They find a Sonya, but with Cleanse being used, she's just fine.
Yeah, this is the fight that they want and the fight that they need, and they're trying to make it work right now. Sonya is under pressure. The slows are going to come in just a few seconds as well, and they are starting to move in. There's 100 gems that Team Wish holds. It's nearly 2 turn-ins. If they get a turn-in, they should be able to get a second one after that. But in order to make it work, they need to win the team fight first. Bad Benny went in deep to go up against Poik, But at this point, Team Expert is starting to kite back.
Poik may be diving a little bit too far, falls up into a busted shield, chokes forward. Giant Killer from Lennar is helping out a lot, but with the sounds coming out in that choke, Team Wish has to pull away. The sound barrier has been used, but the dance between our two teams, no one has yet to net a kill.
Yeah, the moment that we saw Grayman a little bit too far out, we actually had immediately Mopsio and Johanna commit to the Blessed Shield, and at the same time we saw the Haka use Isolation. That's also the moment when sound barrier was popped, so it was really that situation where they tried to go in. I feel the problem for them was why they moved back. Oh god. As Johanna just dies, and that's the worst case. The problem why they disengaged was they didn't want to go into the choke point against Mosh Pit and Silence. I think that was the big thought process behind
gems.
it. And now they're losing more than 50 gems here. They are about to lose the game. Vala, on the other hand, has been destroyed. Maybe. Oh god, that's 70 gems.
Oh boy, he's dead. There's no way he gets out of this. He's trying, but no, he finally gets caught. And Team Expert clears 4 members up of Team Wish. An anticlimactic fight there for Team Wish as they get picked up, and Team Expert turns around and goes straight for a boss.
They had no ults. In that fight, they just had no heroic abilities, and with that, it was the perfect fight for Team Expert. They were desperate at this point, and you can already tell. Expert was actually moving towards core for a second. It was thinking, can we end here? And then I said, guys, it's only 17 minutes into the game. Death timers are low. They are just level 17. Let's play this safe. Let's claim the boss and then play around the boss and try to end with that. So now they are on 19, nearly 20. They can pick up some experience. That's why we're seeing Uther in the mid lane, trying to get some EXP. They're even delaying the capture on the boss to give him more time to go for the EXP so that they can fight with boss and Storm Talents and go for core.
And with Uther grabbing the experience in the middle here, that should be the 20. Boss has been grabbed. They can also grab it on the wave on the top side. Zomni goes for a drag, trying to force this fight before that 20 connects, but Team Expert is able to grab it. Team Wish, remember, this is game point. If they lose here, Team Expert will be going to BlizzCon. Can Team Wish defend this boss push coming in?
Vala isn't there yet. Vala is not there yet. They need to be a bit careful, and that gives time for Wish to poke the boss down, and they already have nearly a half HP as it finally arrives at the core. Isolation has been used. Cleanse is out. They're going in. Zarmony is already low. Could pop the essence. The drag is completely missing. Poik is being attacked. Here comes the sound barriers. They are moving in, but Grayman is in trouble. Gets stunned out and immediately getting taken down. Grayman is dead. The core lost its shield already as we're seeing Team Wish losing hero after hero.
Shad is still up here. He's trying his best here. A power slide into a tour bus, catching 2 members on the side. Team Expert continues to shell down the core. It drops down to 20. It drops down to 10, and that's it. They're going to BlizzCon.
The tour bus to BlizzCon as Team Expert takes game number 3 and wins the best of 5 with a 3-1 score against Team Wish.
Team Expert coming out here. Some decent games here from Team Wish, but they seem to just fall out of steam there as Team Expert a little bit too strong. Glarong, that was a 4-game series out of the best of 5. What do you think of Team Expert?
Team Expert's play in that last game was phenomenal. Their turn in control and their patience, especially like Nick on the Vala, positioned so well and trusted his supports every time that we saw Team Wish get aggressive. He kited and got the D-Shield and got the Stukov peels and healing. And like they moved as an amoeba and as a single unit really, really well. And as we go into this first replay, we get to watch that in action. Just keep an eye on the 2 supports, how they stay split apart from each other, and then Nick on the Vala still playing aggressive, but at the same time trusting that no matter what circumstances happen, he's going to be just fine. And on the other side of this fight, Athero is just wreaking havoc. We saw Poik just get a little bit caught out, and then Bad Benny using the zoning mosh pit to just gain that control. But right there was the perfect example of Nick being right on the balance of being too aggressive and safe. He trusts both of his supports, and he's able to just constantly apply that pressure.
What's also really cool in that particular replay was because Mosh Pit was used, and he gets the cleanse, and at the same time Divine Shield is up. So he could have Divine Shielded the Mosh Pit, decided not to, and that Divine Shield was actually pivotal to keep Vala alive.
Exactly.
Because Zarmony comes in from the back and tries to go for Vala, and that's when he used Divine Shield. So him not Divine Shielding the Mosh Pit, but opting for the cleanse instead actually saved them the backline.
When it comes to recognizing their win conditions, you could call them experts. Like the fact that he had the patience to keep that D-Shield.
You could be a caster.
But the fact that he had the patience to use the cleanse on the Mosh instead of the D-Shield, like you said, was pivotal.
Yeah, I really like that. And for me, it was just a bit, from their point, it must have been a bit frustrating that engagement, when they, at the end, moved in and they use every single ult and they're like, we can't go.
It's so frustrating frustrating.
We
to
can't go
play.
in there. If we go in there, he mosh pits us, we are dead, and the silence hits us too. So like we just committed 3 major heroics to this, and we can't actually move into that position.
It's almost like a lose-lose scenario once
Yeah.
you
You
get
can't
backed
trade
into
out.
that corner.
Exactly.
But I really liked as well the moment at which they sort of knew they were going to BlizzCon, right? They were making their way towards the court and then consciously made the decision like, hey guys, is this actually the highest percentage play to win? No, let's back off the boss, let's secure level 20, and let's go to BlizzCon, baby, because that's got to have been what was going through their head.
And they're going to BlizzCon here. We have ADRD currently on the phone here to talk about the win they got today. ADRD, congratulations on your victory. You're going to the HGC Finals.
Yeah, hello, thank you.
How
We
excited?
kind of expected.
How excited are you? Give me some emotion. I never see emotion from you ever, and I need a smile. I need something.
We kind of expected it. It's like no
Yeah,
big deal.
we expected to win, so it's like we're not that happy. We're just like relieved, I guess.
Okay.
Okay,
but-
come on, no. I'm not gonna let that stand. After game 2, you weren't worried for even a second?
I guess Zeros played, like, Team Wish played better than we expected, but I think we're confident on our first pick maps, and we had first pick 3 times at least.
Okay,
So we're confident that we will take at least 3-2.
all right. Fair enough.
Fair enough. Well, before we get ready, of course, you're joining Dignitas and Fnatic as you head to the HGC Finals. How does things change for you and your team in the next couple of weeks? Do you guys have some planned out scrims? Are you going to boot camp? What's happening for Team Expert?
So there's very little time to prepare anything, but we already did like the early preparations for bootcamp. So we try to bootcamp. We don't know about location yet, but we will definitely be preparing very hard for BlizzCon.
Looking forward to it. All right, over to Caldor.
Okay, so I have a few more questions. First of all, now that you guys made it to the HGC Finals, now that you attend BlizzCon, who is the team that you want to really play against? If you had a choice of one team that you can choose from any region where you say we want to win against these guys or at least play against them, which one's the team?
I guess that would be Roll 20. Like shoutouts to Glarung, but I would like to play. I would have to have a series where I play Medivh like one game and Glarung plays the Medivh other game and see how it goes.
How do you respond to that, Glarong?
I hope that the brackets end up being so that we can make that happen. I'd love to do that as well.
Who's the better Medivh?
I guess we'll let the set determine that. I don't know. We're both good at different things.
Do you have a question for ADRD?
Yeah, actually. So in 2015 BlizzCon, you made it to the grand finals with Team Dignitas. And from your perspective, having not gone to 2016 BlizzCon and coming back to 2017, after like the BlizzCon you played at, you got second place. You have a lot to prove potentially. What's your perspective personally going into BlizzCon? Like, what are your goals personally?
Yeah, so after the BlizzCon, I was out of Dignitas and I was like struggling for a really long time, for about a year. So it means a lot to go to BlizzCon now, because the team that we had, that is now Team Expert, we're also not doing that good at the start. So at the beginning, we just wanted to qualify to HGC. And when we qualified, we were like, oh yeah, we're doing good. We can do a few roster changes, improve a lot, and we can do better than just being in HGC.
Okay, that's awesome.
Awesome. Well, you get a big victory today, obviously, as you'll be going to BlizzCon. Before I let you go, the floor is yours for shoutouts, but I also want you to tell the viewers at home why they should cheer for you as you go to BlizzCon and attempt to win it.
So even versus Team Wish, we had some strategies that we didn't manage to show, but they're like something that was not played yet, but it just didn't come out. So we show some new things for sure
Awesome.
at BlizzCon.
Very cool.
And shoutouts to Team Wish for very good games. I think they improved a lot. To all our fans and Team Expert.
Awesome. Thank you, ADRD. Team Expert will join Dignitas and Fnatic at the HGC Finals. We have our 3 teams, and you can't go wrong with all 3 of them. They're great representatives.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with the 3 teams that represent Europe. Don't get me wrong, from the perspective of everybody loves cheering for an underdog. And the way that Team Wish has improved from game to game was fantastic to witness. At the same time, I think when it comes to BlizzCon, I think Expert have the better chances because they are the more experienced and more stable team in that sense and more disciplined. But with all the stuff that we talked about, Team Wish, where they can improve, if they now use that break and then for the next season of HGC to go in there, they would be a scary contender for next year. They have so much room to improve, and they're already so strong, so they're fantastic to watch. It's a fantastic team. I love them.
Looking forward to Team Wish in 2018.